Good morning, everyone. This is Melinda Heinritz, the Executive Director of the Foundation for Madison's Public Schools. Happy April. It's a beautiful day out there. Hope you have a chance to get outside and enjoy it. I'm here again with my friend and colleague Mo Cheeks to talk with one of our members of the Board of Education who will stand for election next week on April 6th. Don't forget to vote and learn about the state superintendent race in particular. Very important statewide race on your ballot next week. The foundation, as many of you know, has existed since 2001, so we are in our 20th anniversary year. Over the course of our history, we have secured over 27 million in resources and deliver those to our public schools thanks to generous community members like you. And we engage with community members in a wide variety of ways, starting with fiscal agency services, school endowment grants, events such as our annual Circle of Friends luncheon. Hint, May 26th is our 15th annual this year. Hope you can join us. We also provide major and planned giving, marketing, a teacher supply program, the Madison Public Schools Friends and Alumni Network. And thank you, Savion. I think you might have been the very first story we featured on that network when we launched it a year ago. So thank you for letting us do that. And one of the most important things in our mission is advocacy. So last year, an innovation that we started was a 501c4 called Schools Make Madison Advocates, which worked with the community and the Board of Education. Savion and I had a chance to get to know one another better last year through this effort. We led the Vote Yes to Invest campaign. And thank you all for voting yes for the $350 million Future Ready referenda package. And we're taking that momentum into 2021 because our work certainly isn't done. The foundation is here to fight for every dollar that we can secure for Madison Public Schools. And one of our activities is an opportunity to get to know the two individuals running for the Board of Education, unopposed, yet they are on the ballot. And we thank Savion so much for giving to this community through his time and talents. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mo Cheeks so he can introduce himself to you, and then he'll hand it off to Savion so he can introduce himself. Mo.
Sure, thank you, Melinda. So my name is Mo Cheeks. I am a founding board member and board president of the Schools Make Madison Advocacy organization, which, as Melinda mentioned, is the C4 of 501c4 affiliate to the Foundation for Madison Public Schools. I'm a former board member of the foundation for 6 years, also served on the city council for a while. And today, among other things, I run a little bakery project called Bread and Justice. Savion, why don't you introduce yourself and we can get started.
Thank you. My name is Savion Castro, currently serving seat 2 on the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education. Grew up here in Madison, went to Kennedy Elementary, Whitehorse Middle School, and La Follette High School. Was a scholar in the People program and went to UW-Madison, graduated 2018 with sociology of education and African American history. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And Mo's gonna take it from here with some questions, but I just wanted to mention, I brought my La Follette sign out just for you to make you comfortable here in our Zoom studio. And I got my swag on for you. So that will lull you into a false sense of security because Mo's about to go crossfire on you, right, Mo? All right, with that, we'll let you take it away, Mo.
Ready for the gotcha.
All right.
All right. Here's a big gotcha question for you, Savion. You mentioned Whitehorse, so we have some idea, but like, tell us where you grew up. What was that like?
So I grew up on the east side of Madison at a kind of collection of places. We moved around a little bit, but east side of Madison, I consider home. I actually moved up here from Beloit when I was about 4, but east side of Madison is the place where I call home, specifically areas over near Milwaukee Street, Cottage Grove Road type neighborhoods.
That's cool. What was your public school experience like coming up in the Madison Public Schools?
It was up and down. I had some great experiences in our school system, but also some challenges, quite frankly. As a Black student with an IEP, I do have a stutter, but it was up and down. I did mention that we moved around a lot, so I wasn't always engaged with school, particularly around 2nd through 8th grade. I was actually considered chronically truant for a few years, but really had some teachers pull me back in who helped me engage with our system more, and that really was beneficial throughout the course of my experience with public schools here in Madison. But there's so much work to do because a lot of young people have those experiences too. And broadly, we've got to make the system fit our students and not our students fit the system.
I like the way you said that. So building off of that, how does that experience that you had, thinking about, the teachers that pulled you back in, or whatever stands out to you, how does that experience inform and sort of guide your work on the board?
Yeah, so our young people are not being educated in a vacuum. They learn from things in the community. They learn from things that they experience in the community. And so when we think about school, it just doesn't happen within the four walls of a classroom. And so it really underscored the importance of community-based organizations to partner with our schools, and what do our schools need to do to make it easier to partner for the sake of our children. And that, again, there is no one size fits all philosophy to education that will serve all students. We've got to demonstrate some flexibility, and we have to, again, fit our system to the needs of our students right now.
I appreciate you reflecting on your own experience. What would you like the community to know about you, personal or professional? I know that being a public figure and being a candidate, a lot of your story sort of gets told for you, or people have their own ideas about who you might be. Wonder what would you want people to know about you?
I'm very much motivated by a desire to achieve justice for our students, especially our students who have been historically marginalized, our students whose families have not always been at the table at our schools or in city level policy making. And so I think there's a component to my service of trying to right the historical wrongs. How do we build something better that has a vision that's inclusive of all students and all families in our schools? I think all families have to see themselves participating and succeeding in our schools, but that hasn't always been the case. And so how do we embark on a journey of reconciliation, of righting those wrongs, so ultimately all of our students can learn at high levels like they can, just because you may come from a home with less resources doesn't mean you can't learn. And so we've really got to embody that in everything we do and be really innovative in how we provide services to students and how we can connect families with the resources that they need, but really driven by issues of justice and removing stigmas that a lot of our students and families and teachers experience.
Awesome, thank you.
Sort of an answer that lends itself to the next question, which is, I mentioned are carrying the momentum from 2020 and the Yes Vote campaign into 2021. And our advocacy platform is transitioning, if you will, from COVID crisis response, getting into COVID recovery. what do you see as the district's biggest challenges and opportunities as we begin to emerge from the pandemic?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Mo and Melinda, for all the work you did to help pass our referendum last year. And thank you to the community that overwhelmingly supported both referendum questions last November. I think some of the biggest challenges and opportunities we have will be one, keeping a vigilant eye on school health and safety with the virus. So ensuring that all of our students, staff, and families are prepared to have go through these mitigation efforts in person in our schools, because we are transitioning back to in person. I think other biggest challenges will obviously be broadband connectivity, helping students and families who struggle during the pandemic, maybe with financial resources or things of that nature, help letting them know that our schools are here for them and that we can help them out. And so trust is important to that, earning families' trust and consistent communication with families. I think biggest opportunities is that we have had this moment to reflect on how our systems operated before the pandemic. And in that moment, we had an opportunity to make some changes. We have an opportunity to do things differently as we gradually go back to in person. So I think we can, for example, a lot of students who are on virtual learning found a newfound autonomy over their education. A lot of families experience better communication with the school and just more flexibility all around for people's education, but still learning. And so how do we take the best of that as we go back in person to really allow students take their own education by the wheel and make it their own? So again, making the system fit the needs of students. That was one example of that. So how do we keep that going, for example? But broadly, opportunities, we've had this moment to pause and reflect on our systems. And so how do we intentionally make those systems level change so that they can be implemented to the best that they can be?
Wonderful. Thank you for that. A lot to think about and reflect on, as you said. We've been through a lot of heavy. We're still in a lot of heavy. So we have this lightning round of questions just to bring a little bit of a lighter tone to our conversation. So here we go. What's your favorite TV show?
Oh boy. Does the NBA count?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think the Bucks are going to do? That may or may not be your team, but.
I think the Bucks will make the playoffs.
All right, we have it here.
Yeah.
That's prognostication for Savion.
Yeah, I can't tell you what will happen in the playoffs,
Yeah.
but they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The bar's coming down. It's tough.
Yeah.
What book?
The Nets are staring them in the face.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I'm just saying the Nets are staring them in the face.
What book have you read recently that you'd recommend, or just, a book that's a favorite for any particular reason that you would recommend to our listeners that they definitely check out?
So I just picked up from a tiny library a collection of short stories from Zora Neale Hurston. I haven't started it, to be honest, though. Trying to think. It's long, but I really enjoyed The Warmth of Other Suns. It was great storytelling. I identified some family history in there, pretty much the story of the Great Migration. Really good storytelling. It's a serious book, but there are moments of joy in there that I really enjoyed.
Can I thank you, Savion, for putting me on 9 Days? That book was excellent, and I learned about it from you, so thank you.
Of course, 9 Days is a great book as well, about a moment in history in the 1960 election.
Did that just come out?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and it's about Kennedy and the civil rights. Am I
Yep.
remembering correctly? Okay.
Yep, and Dr. King.
Yes, all right. Yeah, I have that on my list as well. Okay, when we can go out and safely hang out somewhere, what's your favorite Madtown hangouts?
Hmm. There are some obvious answers that I love, but I'm trying to think of a more off the beaten path spot for Madison. Because obviously you can say the Memorial Union. I do love the Memorial Union.
Mhm.
I do love all of our parks. So many parks in Madison that I enjoy hanging out at. I'm gonna say uh, Rittingham boats. I had a good time out on the paddle boards last summer,
Okay,
so I'm gonna say that.
all right. So here's the silliest of silly questions. Did you get a pandemic puppy?
I got a pandemic cat.
You that counts. All right.
Yes.
Good for you. They're excellent company. So it's Madison, and so there's always a sense of competition when you have a community with more than one high school. So here's your chance to tout the La Follette Lancers and explain why they're the very best. What's great about being a La Follette Lancer?
We have the best colors. So if you're interested in fashion and dressing well, La Follette has the best colors to coordinate with. I can't speak to the yellow and the blue, I think. Some other schools have, or purple and gold, although never mind. But no, and in all seriousness, the east side is so down to earth, and particularly that area, it's just a down to earth area, uh, and that really shows up in our school, and folks are just ready to pull their sleeves up and get to work.
I'm going to hand it back over to Mo, but hope everyone appreciates what a gift it is to have a chance to get to know Savion and the gifts that he brings to this community and the Board of Education. Thank you again for your time. But Mo's got a last couple of questions for you.
Just before our last question, Savion, we'll share this with our sort of network of, friends of the foundation and friends of the public schools. Curious, is there anything else that you would like to share about yourself that you want people to know?
I'm a fun guy. Feel free to hit me up through email or text if you have any questions or you see any opportunities. I'm always willing to collaborate, listen, and learn from people. I especially love listening and learning from people's stories. We do like to say we're data driven. In a lot of ways we are. There's two types of data, numbers, but stories are really important. Otherwise, these are just numbers on a spreadsheet. So please share your stories and experiences if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, Mo, I'd love to start baking at some point. I think we've been talking about this all year, but I still haven't made a loaf of bread yet. So would love to get on that.
I'll bring you some starter this weekend. We'll get you started.
Please, yeah, because you bake for justice, and I care about justice a lot. So I feel like we have an opportunity here.
Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, we'll get you. I'm baking right now, actually. Making 25 loaves right now. Taking a pause while we record.
How big is your oven?
It's just a regular oven. Um,
He's got a couple of the little Betty Crocker ovens though plugged in too, so he can multitask.
Thanks for the plug. I appreciate it. So last question for you, Savion. It's been a rough past year for a lot of reasons, and one of the things that we've come to really realize in this past year is that we have to manifest our own sources of hope and joy sometimes. I think that's particularly true of elected officials. What gives you hope right now about MMSD and about our community looking forward?
Yeah, so I talked about earlier about having that moment to pause and reflect. Our whole community has done that. Our whole community has learned a lot, but I think particular for MMSD, it's interesting. Madison is very good at studying and analyzing a problem, but not necessarily taking action. I think with MMSD, we've got a board, a superintendent with Dr. Jenkins, and a community and teachers and staff that are ready to take action on some of these broader systemic issues. And so I think we're finally at a point where we're ready to take some bigger actions. We've got to be intentional about those actions, but I think we're past the talking stage on a few things and we're ready to take action. What also gives me hope is just how people stepped up over the last year and have really shown what we're capable of. I don't want to romanticize this idea of resiliency and as if we had to go through hardship to demonstrate our potential, but we do have a lot of potential that's ready to be tapped in that has historically been overlooked. So I think we'll start seeing a lot of new things. We'll start doing a lot of things differently, and that gives me hope. That makes me excited.
That's cool. Thank you.
Mo, before we call it a morning, any last thoughts from you?
No, I'm thankful to both of you to be able to just share this time together, and super grateful to the community for being so invested in Madison schools. So thank you to you all.
And with that, good morning. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website, schoolsmakemadison.org. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Join the free alumni network, sign up for our e-newsletter program. But our schools belong to all of us. They're our collective responsibility. So engage, participate, reach out to Savion, me, Mo, whatever you do, Schools Make Madison, and please be a part of it. Have a great day.